Yo, so this is gonna be a longer video. It's the ultimate beginner guide for learning calisthenics in 2026. Because you probably go on Instagram, you see all these reels of people doing planche, front lever, handstands, muscle ups, all that kind of stuff. And you're like, where the fuck do I even start? It's so confusing, right? So I've been training for 8 years and I'm gonna download all this information from my brain. It's gonna go into you so you can avoid like frustration and like anxiety and not knowing if the path that you're going down is right. Because that's super, super annoying, man. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. So back in 2018, I wasn't naturally gifted. I couldn't even actually do a pull-up. I had to start off with Australian rows and all these beginning exercises that I'm gonna delve into. I was also skinny and I was swimming and doing parkour and that kind of stuff. So not the best start. And in memory, I couldn't even do a single dip. I had to use bands and stuff. And then my push-ups, I thought I was really good at them, doing 50, but then I recorded myself once and they were the worst form. So that montage that you saw, yeah, it's all of my highlights, but the majority of my journey was just like, so now that we're on the same page, I'm gonna show you what it actually takes to get there, because trust me, I'm not naturally gifted. Everything that you see in this video comes from 8 years of trial and error. So the biggest mistake that beginners make is trying to do these skills, but that's not the mindset that you want within your first 2 to 3 years of calisthenics. You want to create the vessel that allows you to become capable of those skills. It's like trying to get a boat and cross the sea to like a different country. But if you're in a little dinghy, it doesn't matter like how hard you try, spend years at sea, and yeah, sure, you'll get to the next country, but geez, you'll be an absolute mess. You want to try to build yourself a boat that's like Titanic. You can just go straight to that next place. That's what we're doing with foundations. You don't want to skip them. So I'm going to list them off and we're going to just see where you are right now. 15 pull-ups, 50 bodyweight push-ups, 20 dips, 50 bodyweight squats, a 60-second hollow body hold, the ability to do scapular pull-ups comfortably, and good shoulder mobility. This is the sort of checklist that you want to start calisthenics. Like as you're a beginner, if I was looking at you as a coach, I did not care like how good your handstand kick-ups are, how good your muscle up attempts are. If I don't see you tick those things off, I'm going to be very concerned, because I personally had injuries in the past. I've seen people get injured in the past. I don't want that for you. Before we even go into anything else, to just nail nutrition, okay? I think beginners massively overcomplicate this. If you're a prepubescent teenager, you can do whatever you want, right? Because you've literally got natural testosterone flowing through your veins. So yeah, if you're at that age, don't even go into calorie counting, nutrition, all that kind of stuff. You can eat KFC and get strong. If you're a little bit older, you need to look at your habits and change a few things if you're a bit on the pudgier side, because body weight ratio does matter for calisthenics. If you look at someone that is lean and has a six-pack with a bit of muscle doing muscle ups compared to someone that is fat, then there's obviously going to be a difference in their journey towards getting that muscle up, given their variables are the same. So when I was working towards the first 2 to 3 years of my calisthenics journey, I was trying to get more food in. I was trying to get more protein in, carbohydrates, stacking on as much muscle as I can, doing weighted calisthenics so I can like move weight and get bigger muscles, because skills were not as important for me. I didn't want to get like the planche, front lever straight off the bat. But later on, when I did want to go to skill work, this might apply to you if you're a bodybuilder or someone that already has that strong foundation. Then I had to fix my body weight ratio. I had to cut down a little bit, be conscious of what I was eating by tracking calories, having more protein. And then I was able to, you know, get a really good physique for these skills in particular. But now I'm going to go through my biggest mistakes. And this is probably the most valuable part. And the first thing was prioritizing speed over form. Now, when I told you that story about me doing push-ups and then me having really bad form, I was just trying to prove to my mates that I was able to do 50 push-ups in a row. But when my sister looked at me do push-ups, she was like, those aren't real push-ups. Of course, my sister was the person that was to call me out, because you know, she humbles me like that. So I took a video on my phone and I was like, oh damn, these really are bad. And so I was watching videos on how to fix my push-up form, and I started doing them really slow and controlled. And I found that I was able to get more progress because I was, you know, using the right range of motion. I was actually building my muscles, and I was able to standardize my progress so I can actually visually and physically measure whether I was progressing or not. Because before I was just doing them with such random form that I couldn't actually progressively overload. So in the beginning, if you're bouncing your reps, if you're like jerking back and forth like that and doing all these speed reps without the knowledge of good form, acquire the knowledge first, and then you can do that if you want, okay? But that honestly cost me my first 6 months of calisthenics training. If I went back and started again, I would have been in such a good position to like go into harder skills if I learned the proper form first. So the second mistake is I wish I bought rings earlier. To be fair, I was pretty broke. I was working at a supermarket, and so it took me a while to save up enough money to buy a pair of rings. But once I bought them, oh my goodness, and I started doing moves like the ring L-sits, typewriter pull-ups, ring dips, ring muscle-ups, and those skyrocketed my gains. As more of an advanced calisthenics athlete, you don't want to really do those because instability doesn't allow you to recruit as much muscles as you want. And so that key phase when you first start off, like going from a bodybuilder into a calisthenics athlete, or like a total training noob into calisthenics, that's the prime time for you to start doing ring work. Then when you get stronger, move away from the ring work, or you can specialize to the other skills. But like there's this really small phase in your calisthenics training where ring work and instability work gives you so much benefit. So capitalize on it. Mistake 3. Oh my goodness, man. Ignoring handstands. Straight up, just wish I learned handstands earlier. Imagine if I actually had a background in balancing, like acrobats and stuff, and I was able to do the one-arm handstand. I would not have had to worry about handstand balancing at all throughout my 8 years. And right now, I don't do any one-arm handstand training at all. I hate the one-arm handstand because I know that as soon as I start, it's going to be 2 years of just consistent practice. That's not something I want to dip into right now. I'm already learning so much stuff. Mistake 4 is training like a bodybuilder, and then also training like an anime protagonist. You don't want to do that, okay? The bodybuilding mindset is like train to failure and like get that pump. And you know, if you're not making a face at the end of each set, then you're not working hard enough. Like you're a pussy, bro. That's not the case, because strength is so much more than that. There are so many studies that show you that if you leave reps in reserve, if you just be very frequent with your training and you use progressions, make sure that you are consistent over a set period of time, you will get stronger, especially as a beginner. A funny story is I joined the push-up challenge, and you know, with these push-up challenges, they get you to do a certain amount of push-ups each day that correlates to a statistic in men's mental health or something. So like day 1 you have to do 52 because 52 people, and then day 3 you have to do this many because that's how many people like call, you know. But I had the smart idea of doing them all in one day, which was about 5,000 push-ups in total. And so I was just like, let's go Rock Lee or Goku mode and let's just do as many push-ups as we can in 24 hours. I got up to 2,300 in one day, and then it was like the last 500 push-ups, I had to strap ice packs to my elbows because they were so inflamed just to do more of them. And after that, I couldn't train for like a whole month. So don't have that bro mentality, don't have that anime protagonist mentality like One Punch Man and, you know, Rock Lee, Naruto, that kind of stuff. It's gonna cause more harm than good. There's a very safe approach that you can have to fitness. Take that route in the beginning, or else you're gonna stunt your progress later on. The obsession with a six-pack. Oh my goodness. I was doing the morning and night six-pack workout routines from Chris Harrier when I first started. So unnecessary. There was some benefit to it, but at the end of the day, it was just more mental than anything. I'll do like Russian twists and like sit-ups and like burpees and that kind of stuff in the morning. And then just before I slept, I would do the exact same thing, but like the nighttime version, flutter kicks, V-snaps. Oh, just listing those exercises make me cringe so much because it just hurts. It just hurts. I would have been like a Pilates pro master and like mogged every single girl at a studio if I kept continuing with that, because I genuinely thought that I was going to get a six-pack because I was training abs that much. That's just not the case. It just comes down to dieting, comes down to how much overall muscle mass you have, and learning calisthenics skills already stimulates a lot of growth in your core. Although there isn't much like spinal flexion, you know, isometrics are still very good for growing muscle, enough so that you can see a six-pack. So if you're watching this and you want to start calisthenics in the big 2026, just remember, don't focus on all the flashy stuff. Make sure you build your foundation first. You know, the boring stuff like 50 push-ups and 15 pull-ups, that kind of stuff, because in the long term, it's going to work out with you better. Now, you can do the flashy stuff and the skills right now, but I'll maybe keep it 30% of your training. Do it at the very start as a testing phase, so you can see like how strong you are, or try this thing because it looks fun. This is actually a pretty fun video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you want me to go through some more phases of your calisthenics journey besides the beginner phase, like learning the muscle up and my experiences with like front lever, planche in the early days, all my injuries, that kind of stuff, leave a comment, you know, with your experiences too. But if not, then I'll see you in the next one, I guess.